There's power in a drum beat on a hill above the sea. Power in the voice of a supporter. But to nothing, together we don't sing. There's power when no seas any day. Go forever, oh town stingery. Valley and mountain shine brown to the sea. And the colors of our rainbow, sunset, orange, Tory green. There's power when we're North Boise. ST loyal forever, someday North County. Desert to islands, get loud now you and me. All our voices strong together as we cheer on our team. There is power when we're North,
Welcome to the Loyal Locals podcast. This is a very special playoff postseason edition of the show. It is postseason week in San Diego, and therefore we're adjourning our normal format here for the week of being live with three hosts instead, having just myself, Drew Steck, here to take you on an audible journey of what's going on in the Locals and Loyal world for this, the week of their first home playoff match. Obviously, there's a lot of other playoff sports going on in the city that are taking up a lot of people's time. So we thought maybe we'd condense our show tonight into just a very short form format. Here you can listen to either on your way to the game, possibly, or just jotting around town with all the fever and excitement that's going on in San Diego these days. So thank you so much, to our host last week. Having that team is always a blast. Three seasoned but also really great hosts, and Sean Duffy, Andrew Dyer, and Jerry Abarum. We'll have three new hosts for you again next week. But really what I would love to dive into, because I'm going to dance around it in any possible way, is last weekend's game. If you were watching, maybe you took it off. Maybe you were watching one of the aforementioned also successful postseason teams here in San Diego. But if you did slog through it like myself, if you put it on even just a minute or two late, let's even say you turned on the game 8 or 10 minutes late. Normally, you don't miss much in a soccer match. Every once in a while, you'll get an early goal. But in this game, we were down already several goals. Not just one, not just two, but 3 to 4 goals pretty quickly in this match. And it was just a fight back. It was obviously a very rotated, a meaningless match when it comes to points for the club. We had already secured second place. We had already secured our playoff berth. Home field advantage for at least these 2 rounds if we make it to the next round. That being said, it did look like they just didn't have anything to play for, and that is the difference when you have a team that actually comes out to play in the form of Sacramento. And our team, our manager said something to that effect, and I think that's where we can leave it, is that they didn't show up this week. We didn't really feel like playing, and Sacramento felt like playing, and we need to show up this next week, and that is very true here at home, and we'll get to that in a minute here. But we did have, a few different highlights, just seeing some of the players off the bench. Obviously, seeing our teenage backup keeper, again, is great to see him out there and get some game time, especially since Koke has been such a stalwart, and hopefully he remains number one throughout the playoffs, but always good just to have fresh legs or have people who have touched the pitch maybe recently if they are called upon coming up. So that was pretty much all there is to say about Sacramento on the field, in the stands, as well as always as Locals on tour. We were able to send a few people to most of these matches away this year, and that is a trend that has kept going here at that Sacramento match. And really a big shout out to the team that was there bringing banners, cheering their hearts out, trying to will something from this, as I said, unfortunately, statistically meaningless game for this club. But for Sacramento, it wasn't, and they were able to get to their position in the playoffs. In terms of talking about happier things, though, let's talk about the Wave. Our counterpart, our female NWSL club here in town, did have a postseason match and modeled for us what maybe a successful formula here would look like. Obviously, going down a goal is never ideal, but being able to battle your way back in and then have your star, Alex Morgan, close the deal in extra time. Obviously, in playoff matches where you get that special added time and that special thing in soccer where a goal means so much that an extra time goal means almost that much more, right? And so being able to close that out in front of their fans, biggest attendance in history for one of those matches. So shout out to all of the local soccer friends, as well as all of our locals that I saw definitely proliferating in the Cove with the Sirens, our supporters group for the San Diego Wave. So good to see everybody there having a great time, enjoying the atmosphere. I would just say maybe let's do a little bit of that. Let's do that for us. I'll definitely take a shot of that in the arm. Moving on and meaning to talk about this as well, as I'm wearing my beloved brown and yellow hat of the local baseball team. I'm thinking of maybe getting another hat, as I've worn this one a lot lately, and I'm probably going to need a new one here in a month if I wear this one out. And there is a sneak peek, if you look on the club's Instagram and all of their different socials, of the Talisman Caps preview, a company that is known for making some really cool designs of different USL clubs, as well as just different clubs around the world and different sports. Give them a look, just for anything that they've done previously, and you're going to be excited for the potential of what they can do with our club. So definitely something that I'll be working into my rotation and my budget here at some point. But another reason to stop by the shop or to look online is to support one of our locals, a fiend father himself, Mr. Naku. Paul Naku has designed some special merch for the club, and very close to this host's heart, and that the proceeds go to Bridge Barcata and street soccer, free to play, free to approach, co-op street soccer in San Diego. So check those things out upcoming at the Merch Mansion, or the club shop, as it were. And hope everybody's enjoying their locals kits as I'm flaunting mine around town and quickly making its way to the laundry bin, as I've probably been wearing it half the days since I got it. So enjoying those very much. But really, this podcast and tonight was to get you ready and get you into the frame of mind for our first home playoff match. And I'd ask anyone who's actually going to be attending this match to keep in mind that you play a massive role in what happens here this weekend. You will be front and center. The players on the field can hear you, and they would love to hear encouragement and encouraging words, as well as loud of coherent and together singing that we can provide. I think those things have always propelled and seem to give the club an extra lift, and they play better and they play stronger and they run harder and they run longer. And those things weren't supposed to rhyme, but they did. I do think that's something that you can do and provide here. So you are not a passive observer. You are very, very much a part of this. And for those of us who may not be able to be there, just give it a little bit extra voice for us. So know that as you're going into this weekend's match. But in terms of a setup for this weekend, maybe something extra you can do is help get us ready on the art and creative side. I have not been in town, so I was not able to participate, but we have a TIFO that's upcoming here. It's going to be painted at Mesa College, it sounds like, in a room there. And please get in contact with Jason R., our director of events. You can also contact Steve, our president, as well, or anyone within leadership, and they should be able to point you in the right direction. But Jason is the direct contact for this specific event. Looks like it'll take place this Thursday. So we're looking at Thursday, the 20th, and then continuing through Friday and Saturday as it gets finished. And I think so it's kind of tentative in terms of the exact dates and times there of when exact work will be taking place. But again, reach out to Jason. They can use as many hands as possible. And if it's something where, hey, you've been in this section and you feel like I've gone to stuff, but I haven't really had a chance to approach people and talk to them, this is the perfect place to do that. And it's the perfect way to feel like you're contributing. If you're somebody who maybe can't scream or sing as loud or can't even wave a flag for the whole game, this is a way that you can contribute that sends a message to the players right before the game begins and right after the national anthem. That last thing they see before they kick the ball is this message. So be a part of that. Obviously, it's something that you don't see until it comes out, so I won't ruin any of the special surprise within it, but it looks really great from all the things that I've seen, and it's a pretty exciting design. So definitely participate in that, and that's a call to arms for you. But in terms of the actual match itself, let's roll into that. So we found out this last week our opponent through the decisions of final matches is going to be Oakland Roots, a team that we have had some trouble with in their 2 years since they've joined USL, a team that joined the year after we did, but has been around in pro soccer in various forms in a different league before joining our league, and created a culture, created a great atmosphere from their supporters as well. Some of those friends came down and cheered their team to an unfortunate and frustrating match, I would say, for us here at home last time we played them. And I do think it's something where the playoffs versus in season can always be different. It's definitely something we've seen across the board for various teams in various instances. There is the cachet of momentum. And if you have momentum, you want to say, hey, our team has great momentum going to the playoffs. If you don't have any momentum, maybe you've been wrapped up for a while and you've been resting people to get healthy, kind of like what we've been doing. You're going to look at it through my prism, which is, I think we have a lot to give. I think we've been kind of holding back and almost baiting in possibly our future opponents in the form of Oakland and, looking forward, it would be someone like Sacramento. So you didn't want to give them an inch, maybe even let them get confident, right? And so I think that's what we've been doing as a team. And that would be just where the analysis runs out here, because I do think at any point it's just going to be a playoff match. And it comes down to what the players are doing on the field here. I really do think, again, that with our healthiest, best lineup, I think that we easily can control and take over this game. And that's where you, as an active participant in the stadium, if you're there, can really help turn that up a notch, right? And help those players play at their best. So that's what we're looking for in terms of the actual match itself. Obviously going to be one of those things where we have a few returning players who have played for us before. We've seen them already with the Oakland Roots this year. But again, will be something where we can remind them, hey, we remember that you played here, but we also remember maybe the times the ball went by you, or maybe times that we can, get around these friends who maybe, again, feel confident from the last time they played us that we can get one over on them. And definitely the script, I would say, is different, at least from just the scheduling reasons. We've had a full week. We've had actually several weeks to look at them as a possible opponent. And I do think that, again, most of the times that we've played them so far in USL, the word is, hey, we don't play them well, but we've also played them typically on short weeks, on half weeks, and usually just under very odd conditions. So in terms of where the club finds itself and who the starting 11 is. So we will see where that goes. Remember, if you are attending, to have your AXS app logged in. Maybe check that out earlier this week. Just make sure your tickets are loaded. Contact the SD Loyal Ticket Office if you're having any issues there. If you're watching, like myself, ESPN Plus will be the place to find this match. And just kind of, again, be online, be on our Discord throughout the match. Always a great place to join if you've never thought about it. Please think about it. It's a great way to feel more connected. Again, just like I was talking about with the TIFO painting, it's like that, but all the time, and you have access to everybody all the time. So please reach out through that and make your voices heard, as well as vote for the man of the match. In the 70th minute. So that is something that we will continue to do through the playoffs here. And something that we would be excited for you to take part in, even if you can't be there physically. In terms of your pre-game for this game, right? That is the thing we're working forwards to backwards, talked about the match, talked about the breakdown, talked about the prep work, but now let's talk about the pre-game. The pre-game is going to be taking place at our Bums parking lot. I said that going up like it was a question, but it wasn't. It'll be at the Bums parking lot behind the Jenny Craig Pavilion. If you've been to one previously, you'll know where that is. It's the same standard place. We're going to be looking at 3 hours before the match as our typical time for opening, up till about 45 minutes before is when we march into the stadium. So keep that in mind in terms of your arrival. It is a playoff match. I do think more people will be arriving a little bit earlier for this one than they have maybe previous ones. It is a Sunday evening, so you're going to have that kind of roll-in crowd as well. But it is, something where we'd love to see you there. It's always a good time. And again, just a great way to be kind of revved up in one place and not have to worry about moving your car or going from the pregame to the stadium. It's all just happening there. And you don't have to be a member of the Locals. You don't have to have your ticket in 109 to attend the parking lot. It is open to anyone coming to the Loyal match and anyone who really wants to hang out with the Locals. So that's the whole plan there, as opposed to whether or not you can or should or shouldn't. Again, I think coming and just planning on having the best time is the best possible thing to do. So come to the parking lot and have a great time. I think that's a recipe for success. I'm really trying to oversell something that's not that complicated. Pretty simple here. So any questions with that, obviously reach out with our socials. You'll see some postings in terms of exact specifics, possible vendors, things like that that'll take place at the parking lot here in the next few days. But be sure to mark your calendars if that's something you plan on doing. We'll see you there. In terms of the Locals Lounge, which normally happens at the end of the show, it would be kind of weird to hear me talk to myself, as you've heard me here for 15 minutes or so doing just that. I could probably go in circles or narrate the baseball game that's about to happen here tonight, but I'll save you that. And instead, I'll tell you that as a member of the Locals, which is free, you can sign up via our website, thelocalssg.com. You can watch any of these former lounges, which include myself and many friends, going on for many hours. Just a free amount of content that's pretty great. So you can sign up at any time. If you're listening to this and haven't already, go to our website and listen and watch all of those old lounges. So be sure to check that out. That is your member benefit, and something where, again, I'll point back to those and circle back to those on the end of this shortened but hopefully informative and hopefully fun and breezy Loyal Locals podcast, in terms of just keeping you informed and keeping you up to date with everything that's going on. And thank you to everybody who makes this community what it is. It is truly your community. It's the people who make it the community, and not one or two people, but really everyone. Because it takes every one of you to make the effort of someone else who's putting in, X amount of effort worth it. And it all kind of cascades and mills on itself, as a turbine would. So keep that engine running, everybody. And appreciate anybody for hanging out here with us throughout this episode. And we will see you hopefully next week here on Tuesday nights. Thanks, everybody.